invite today's Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vishal. Toastmaster Vishal is current treasurer and he was also the past treasurer of the club. Currently, he will be taking forward with the meeting with the theme of Apple. Toastmaster Vishal, Apple, Vishal, Toastmaster. Apple, sorry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vishal. I'll be playing the role of TMOD today. So basically, just for the benefit of the guests, which are less today, thankfully, it's more about prepared speech sections in which people who have prepared their speeches at home will come and give their speech on the stage itself. Just to move forward, let's discuss a movie today. Have you guys watched Animal by any chance?
Unfortunately.
Any views on the movie? Anyone want to share anything about the
Trying
movie?
to be Tarantino.
Sorry?
Was trying to be Tarantino, but probably sociological side.
Okay. Anyone else?
The posters about this movie were very disturbing and very brutal.
Okay.
The movie wasn't.
Have you seen the movie, sir? Yes. Anyone else want to share anything about that movie?
It was a good commercial,
Good entertainment. Nice
good
movie.
good commercial movie.
Good commercial movie. Okay.
I like the gun machine.
Do you like the gun? Okay.
I like Tripti Dimri.
Sorry?
I like Tripti Dimri.
I too.
If we are going there, Bobby Deol was quite hot.
That is true.
I agree.
I think social message was not correct.
There was no social message.
There was no
There was
social.
no social message.
The
It was
way
just
they have
entertainment.
promoted
It was GTA.
So, one takeaway from that movie after watching that film for me was when the protagonist of that movie was faced with some adverse times, when he was facing some adverse challenges at that point of time, he didn't trust anyone. Anyone within his company, within his friends, he didn't trust anyone. He straight away went to his family members for his support and guidance. Correct? Is that what we generally do?
Sometimes.
Whenever we had some road accident, we tell that guy, you don't know who I am, which family I belong to. Correct?
We don't talk about where are you from, which religion you are.
Yes, correct. So, let's think about another situation. In Ramayana, when Bhagwan Ram saw that his wife got abducted by Ravan, he didn't approach his family members at that point of time. He didn't call Bharat, who had a full army, right? At a call away, he was at a call away, he respected his brother. He was just at a call away. He could have been there, helped him in his search and his war against Ravan. But he didn't do that. Which approach do you think is better, and which approach do you think we follow in our lives? Anyone can reflect upon.
Asking for help is better.
Asking for help is better. Okay.
The second one where you depend on your own self, your own thinking, and your
Okay.
choice.
Okay.
Actually, Ram was also asking for help.
Hmm.
It's not that he was not seeking help. He was seeking help from nature, he was seeking help from animals, from different sources. And he did not want to disturb his family because there was a different responsibility for his brother. So he was mindful of that. That's my perspective.
Okay.
Also, there was a promise that he had made that he would never come back to his kingdom until that span of 14 years had.
Correct. You will not come back, but message can be sent.
But then again, it's like, if not physically being there, it is asking for help, coming back somewhere. So it was like, I cannot go back because I have this integrity that my word should be kept.
Okay.
I think it became a question of self-respect. Lord Ram did not want to include his brother.
Include his brother in his work. Okay. So, which path do you guys will follow? If someone can raise hands, family members A, if someone can raise hand, which path do you follow when faced with adversity?
Family members or anyone?
Family members specifically.
Depends on
Because
context.
Ram took help from many
Depends
people,
on the
but not from
context,
family
yeah.
members.
It depends on the context.
It depends on the context. You can take help from family also, but you can take help from,
Sometimes you have to fight the battles yourself.
yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes your inner circle, sometimes just acquaintances.
Okay, okay. What about which one you prefer more? See, it is never white or black. It is always grey. Where I have more inclination toward, that's the idea.
So what are the options?
Option is family members or non-family members. These are the two options.
Okay, not self. Self is not an option.
Self and outside family members. These are the two options.
Second option. Second option.
Second option.
Non-family.
Second.
Second.
Probably.
Second, yeah.
Second. Nice.
I'll take call my friend because they can reach much quicker than
Much
us.
quicker. So I personally feel, and these are my own views, that Bhagwan Ram at that point of time formed various alliances, and the most important alliance was with Sugriv.
Yeah.
He helped him to win, to defeat Bali, and to win him the king title at that point of time. That helped him to become the king so that he gets the army. But getting an army is one thing, and telling that army that you have to die for me is the other thing. Ultimately, for that army, he was an outsider. Army didn't knew who was Ram. Army didn't knew whether he was from Ayodhya or he was that person at that point of time. Because Ram at that point of time was in this Vanvas. So what do you think, what motivated that army to fight for Ram?
So there was a scene in Ramayana where the Vanaras questioned Lord Ram that why should we fight for you? At that time he told that today Ravan has kidnapped, abducted my wife, tomorrow he'll come for your family members, your wives and children, your families. So we should fight him together and, basically remove this evil.
So basically you have to see world from his eyes. Right. Any other?
I think we all want to be part of a purpose. We want to do good and we want to be contributing to something that is beneficial for everyone else.
Yeah, it was win-win, no? The army knew that if they win, they would also get their lost kingdom, right?
Lost Kingdom was
For the nation.
For the
But
nation,
not
not
for
for
the
nation,
nation.
but
But
for
ultimately they would have been attacked by Ravan if he had not been killed. So he was a very
Fight of truth, basically.
He has been helping Sugriv, in fact.
so you got the alliance with the king.
Maybe
Yes, for that.
this sounds found a little ridiculous. Pay more food and stuff.
So I tell you, I think that construction of Ram Setu was the first event which the army did. And that was something unimaginable at that point of time to construct that Setu so that huge army can cross the water body and reach the Lanka. It was unimaginable. So when we work on something, we get emotionally attached to it and work toward that common cause. So that 5 days of constructing that bridge gave Ram that army that was motivated enough and was high spirited because they were able to bridge that unimaginable bridge at that point of time. Because they were working on a common cause. Even before he started that fight with Ravan, he wanted everyone who was there in the army to be motivated and have high spirit when they reach that particular island. So that Ram Setu fight was not built by the bow of arrows. I personally feel it was only for the people to get motivated. So with this, I would like to call over on stage our journal evaluator. Thank you, Postmaster Arkeruna, for helping us, taking us the role of GE. So before we move forward, let's discuss more about leadership styles of Bhagwan Ram and Bhagwan Krishna. Right. Both are equally good leaders, and Bhagwan Ram was the one who had weapons in his hand. He was fighting in the war, whereas Bhagwan Krishna was more of a strategic advisor for the war. Which leadership style do you think you will follow and when?
Depends. Depends on the situation. If you are in a situation where you have to fight, then you will follow the leadership style. If you are in a situation where you have to
Depends. It depends. So obviously both are equally good styles, but which style will you use and when?
Krishna.
I prefer Krishna's.
No, not prefer. Which style you will use and when?
And when.
Both are equally good.
Because I've never used the style of Lord Ram, so and I've always preferred Krishna. That's why I use each and every situation.
So if fighting for self, then Lord Ram. If for someone else, then Lord Krishna.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Shri Ram. I prefer Shri Ram.
So a few days back when I was hearing speech of Toastmaster Vivek, in which he highlighted the grid between skill and motivation. I don't know how many of us remember that.
Yeah.
So Bhagwan Krishna had a team which was very highly motivated and had very good skills. The only leadership style which would have won that war is the delegation style. Which I think it was, when he was giving that speech, this was the time I also realized why the two leadership styles are completely different. Whereas Bhagwan Ram had a team which was less organized as compared to Ravan. They didn't have that skill, which majority of the Ravan army had because they had won various wars in various routes against various plots. So that army was not that organized. So Bhagwan Ram had weapons in his hand to show them how to win the war. With this, I would have to call upon our first speaker on stage. To discuss forward, we discussed two leadership styles, right? One was lead by example, there was more of a strategic advisor. Can you think of any real life example of any of the two?
Lead by example.
Lead by example, more of a lead by example, and other one is more of a strategy advisor.
So it is about all the consultants, right? They work like that, right? For most the CEO and CEO people, right? They saw the all the leader.
I have two examples. These are like war generals. One lead by example is Alexander, and the strategic person, I think you guys will really not like it, is Hitler.
So I see both the leadership in one person, that is Subramaniam Jayashankar, our foreign minister. So I think that he is a very good strategist, diplomat, and he is at front role, is playing the role also, that how he has changed the viewing of India as India.
Even I have a similar example who shows both these qualities. That's MS Dhoni. In the World Cup final, he stepped up to 2 down and showed the team the way. He scored the runs. And recently in IPL, of late he's not been doing that great, but with his fielding changes, bowling changes, he's always strategically ahead of the other opponent.
Correct.
If you see the movie, sorry,
Go ahead.
you see the movie called Pattern.
Pattern. No, I've seen it.
That's where the Patton Tyson is. There are two American generals. General Patton is the one who leads from the front and goes to the war in the Second World War. General Eisenhower, he is strategic, and he is basically not going to the front and where the bloodshed is, but he's planning at the back. And eventually, when the war is over, both the generals are back in the US. There's one position for the President of America. And strategically, Eisenhower takes over. And Patton is a disappointed chap, because he thought he had won the war for him. So one is leading in the front, one is strategy.
With the limited knowledge that I have, I think Mr. Mukesh Ambani has a strategic leadership style, and Steve Jobs has more like a hands-on leader.
So I think it's for every aspect in our life, it is never 0 and 1. It is always somewhere in between. You cannot implement your strategies if you cannot lead them. You cannot For example, he gave the example of Mr. MS Dhoni, right? He came out to bat, though he is more seen as valuable for his strategic inputs as compared to his batting. Though he's a very good batter. He's a person who has won various matches for Team India. But if you say Dhoni, you say strategy. And when you say Sachin, you say lead from the front. There was time when India used to close TV when Sachin gets out. Right? So these are the two different individuals. Both have their own skill sets. Both have their own strategies. And it is more about which skill of yours you have more as compared to the others. With this, I would like to call upon the next speaker on stage. So have you guys seen the movie Wednesday? Last movie for the day.
Wednesday.
The Wednesday.
So it is A Wednesday or A Wednesday? I was confused. What should I say? When I was incorporating this movie in my speech today, I was thinking whether should I call A Wednesday or whether should I call A Wednesday. I was confused like that CN Muslim reporter. If you guys have seen that video. Hopefully I'm not the only person seeing such personal stuff. Yes. So then I thought we have a grammarian today who can tell us whether I should use A Wednesday or A Wednesday and correct me. So what do you think about that movie? Whether what Nasruddin Shah did in that movie was the right thing to do or not?
That is that's just part of the movie. It cannot be possible in real life.
Not possible in real life, okay. Yes, ma'am?
I think it was more of a last resort. I mean, it kind of insinuated that the person was against the wall now and there were no more avenues to be explored anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was a last-ditch effort. It was desperate.
It was desperate effort.
Yeah.
Okay. For him, that was the last option.
I think it was as random as the movie Nayak.
As random as
Or bizarre.
Very
As bizarre.
unpopular opinion.
okay. Anyone else want to contribute?
Sometimes you do have to take extreme actions.
Something.
So I believe philosophy and psychology are my subjects, and I can very well answer this, that in this whole universe, I'm not just about to talk about the world, everybody, whatever they're doing, right or wrong, that is a perspective game. There is nothing right, there is nothing wrong. If you be in that situation where that person was, you're going to behave the same way. And I'm talking about every microsecond of life that the person lives. If you live the same life, you're going to react the same way. It's just that.
I want to add a perspective to what he said. How many of you believe sun rises in east? Is it a fact or belief?
Belief.
Belief construct, because east is defined by us.
It's basically how you communicate. Otherwise, how will you say that the sun rises?
Sun is in the same
Sun
place,
never
absolutely.
That's the rising.
It's not rising.
I don't rise the sun.
always
Just stand my sun remains
It's
the
rolling.
same.
sun is always there.
We go to
We are rolling. Sun is not rising, we are rolling.
But you take liberty to say.
It's a narrative.
You
It's a
roll.
narrative.
So there is one more character of Mahabharata, if you know Karan, right? He was person self-giving, right? He never wanted something for himself. He just wanted to win over Arjun. Right? That was his sole objective of his life. So when Arjun was not able to win against him, when he was dying at that point of time, he didn't have weapon in his hand. He didn't have the bow and arrow in his hand. That point of time, Karn said to Krishna, why I am being killed in this manner? And Krishna told him that you are the person who were raised, not born, raised in a lower caste family. You saw what are the hardships that family or that caste system has brought to our society. Still, what actions have you taken for the benefit of that particular society? You had everything. You had the knowledge, you had the education, you were king, you were made king for one of the empires also. What actions have you taken for the benefit of the society? Rather, your sole objective was to prove that you are the biggest warrior ever born on this earth, on this planet, and you want to defeat us. Was that the sole purpose of Karn? Or that point of time, Krishna told him, it's better to accept your defeat right now, so that you contribute towards something for the betterment of the society, and that can only bring upon by your death. So I personally feel in that movie also, yes, he had vengeance, personal vendetta against the terrorist. Yes, he was frustrated against the law enforcement agencies. But rather he would have taken a path in which he would have helped a lot of terrorist victims. Choice is on us in which path which we want to take and how well we can contribute to the society depending upon what kind of hardships which we have seen on ourselves, at least for the betterment of that. With this, let's have a third speaker on stage. Yes.
Can I contribute something?
Yes, please.
It's quite interesting, and that is why I'm adding something to it. So there is a book by Shivaji Shinde, and the book name is Karna. And Karna is my favorite character, to be very honest with you. So this book has 7 chapters, and each chapter is a perspective. Like it's Kunti's perspective, it's Duryodhana's perspective. It's like each chapter has been written the same story from different perspectives. And when I read that book, if anyone is interested, they can read the book. It's like when you are in Karna's shoe, when you are under his skin, you will see that the one thing that he became, the super warrior that he became, was he said the only thing that was missing in his life, apart from the conditions he was born in, was that he could not find or he could not get the love of his guru, Dronacharya, no matter what he did. So he practiced every night, he did everything possible just to get that attention from his guru, who was completely inclined towards Arjuna for God knows what reason. And that is why he practiced his skills so hard that he became the best warrior that possibly can be. Arjuna in eternity could not have defeated Karna. So, and when you look at from Duryodhana's perspective, I was just going to come back to, sorry, can I take that moment? From Karna's perspective, he said, everybody was laughing at me. But there was this one guy who came in black dress and he was radiant. And look at how he's explaining Duryodhana. He says, he comes to me, puts his hand on my shoulder, supports me. Now, why the hell am I not going to support him in the war, no matter who is in front of me? Maybe it is Krishna in front of me, but this guy is Krishna for me. And that is a completely, changing thing that, it's a life-changing lesson that you can learn, that it is about perspective. When you look at from Duryodhana's perspective, he says, the Pandavas are getting all the goodness and the attention from everyone, that these are the righteous, these are the guys who are playing with righteousness. And I'm not. What am I doing wrong? I'm also fighting for the same thing that they are fighting for. And that changes our perspective of what we think of right and wrong. Sorry if I took more.
No, exactly right. It entirely depends on which perspective you start looking the scene from. But ultimately, if we have an overall objective which is larger than my own objective, that is something the message which Lord Krishna gave to Karna at that point of time. So let's pass on stage before we have governments. So we all know that Lord Ram traveled thousands of kilometers in search of his wife and eventually fought an epic war at that point of time. What do you think he would be feeling at that point of time when he came back after winning that epic war? When he came back to Ayodhya, people were questioning Sita. People had their own people, his own people were raising questions on Sita. His true love for which he fought the war against Ravana. That point, sorry. At that point of time, he would have been very furious, right? He would be thinking, what wrong Sita has done? What wrong have I done? Still, there were questions around Sita. It can be debated that Sita should not have done the Agni Pariksha, or Ram should have handled the situation much better. But there is 100%, I can say, and everyone can say, with 100% certainty, that in every case, Ram did not cut the hands of the people who were raising doubts. Lord Ram did not cut the tongues of the people who were raising doubts against Sita. IT raids were not conducted at that point of time. Right? Only thing I want to emphasize is taking his name is easier than following his path. With this, I would like to call upon TTM Toastmasters of the day today, Toastmaster Kunal, to take us through the joyful ride of the Toastmaster. I forgot one thing. Where is Apple?
He ate it, huh?
Where is Apple in this entire thing? Paras just had it. Is there anything else?
I believe Steve Jobs has the same leadership style that you might
Connecting the
connect
dots.
that.
So I wanted us to contemplate on various things like governance, like individual choices which we do. How can we contribute towards society? And one person who contributed a lot towards science, developed science through an apple, which was Newton. Something fell upon him which was called as apple, and he discovered the law of physics at that point of time. So that's why I just thought to have a topic which is engrossing and engrossing for us to think upon and dwell upon what choices are we making in our life. Thank you. With this, let's have Para.